Hello and welcome to the Oklahoma State Department of Education 21st Century Community Learning Center's webinar on claims. My name is Jalen Hartman and I am coordinator for the 21st Century Federal Grant Program. In this webinar, we will cover general information for 21st Century claims, creating a new claim within the Grants Management System or GNS, coding guidelines with object codes 100 through 900, and items to double check before submitting claims. Since the 21st Century is a reimbursable grant, you should commit to filing monthly claims for your district or organization. Please note the following timelines and plan accordingly. For instance, your budget is due 2 weeks after budgets open, and your first claim should be submitted by November. Planning to submit both your budget and the first claim should be a priority during this time. Another priority time is near the end of the school year when you submit your final claims and the closeout report. Remember, the OSDE fiscal year is from July 1st to June 30th, making June 30th the last day for your program to encumber funds for the fiscal year. This makes the June 1st date important. If your last claim is submitted on or before June 1st, your district or organization will be able to receive the final reimbursement payment by the end of the fiscal year and be able to record it as fiscal year revenue. Please be aware your claims must be in a clean, payable form, meaning the claim must be able to be accepted by the 21st Century on or before June 1st. August 1st is the last day to submit claims. If you don't make the August 1st date, your remaining late claims run the risk of not being finalized and/or paid. Payment of late claims is subject to the approval of the State Board of Education. Once all of your claims have been received and accepted by 21st Century, you may complete the final step to close out for the year. The closeout report for 21st Century includes all programs completing and uploading their 21st Century annual report, including fifth-year grantees. Oklahoma uses the Grants Management System, or GNS, for all school districts and organizations to submit their budgets, claims, and to upload supporting documentation. The authorized official is the person granted specific rights by the local Board of Education that has the authority to bind the local education agency. The authorized official is usually the superintendent or the authorized official of a community-based organization. Your authorized official has the ability to assign either full or view-only access to different individuals in your program to have access to the grant application, the budget, and the claims. For example, the program director of a 21st Century program may be given access to view the original grant application, the budget, and the claims in order for them to facilitate planning and to implement services at their level. Expenditures must be reasonable, necessary, allocable, and properly documented while having the cost be directly linked to the size and scope of your program. Please consult grant guidance for specific allowables and non-allowables. Grant guidance should be followed regarding pre-approval from the 21st Century office. Please seek pre-approval prior to purchasing any single item exceeding $1,000 or any total amount exceeding $2,500, as well as for any shared costs. Each of your claims will have documents that must be scanned into a PDF format and then uploaded into GNS. Each claim must have both the summary expenditure report and the detailed expenditure report that you will print from your local software. Both reports must be signed and dated by the authorized official before they are scanned. Supporting documents such as itemized receipts, invoices, and contracts should be scanned in the order they appear on the detailed expenditure report. When scanning and naming PDFs, you may not use any special characters to name the file, or the upload will not be able to be opened by OSDE. This will result in your claim being returned to you. All of these items may be in one upload, or you may divide them into multiple uploads as needed. All itemized invoices and receipts must be signed and dated by the program director, while contracts and purchase orders must be signed and dated by the authorized official. The date of the purchase order must be on or before the warrant date and be dated before any contracted services take place. If a claim has a lesser amount to be reimbursed than what was paid by the program, please indicate. Your claims should begin on the first day of the month and end on the last day of the month. The date ranges of claims must match between the GNS, the summary expenditure report, and the detailed expenditure report. It's encouraged for you to combine multiple months instead of submitting $0 claims. For example, if August is a $0 month, combine August and September into one claim to include September expenses. The date range for this example would be 8/1 to 9/30 with the current year. We will now walk through how to begin your first claim in GNS. You will need to complete your budget first to be able to access the claims area. Please visit the 21st Century website for assistance with submitting your budget. You will log into Single Sign-On to access the Grants Management System. You can use your normal district login to get into Single Sign-On. If you're a community-based organization, you will need to obtain new credentials through the 21st Century Office to gain access. Please remember these helpful tips when using GMS, which will prevent error messages or being kicked out of the system. Turn off any pop-up blockers. Never use the back button on your internet browser. There are navigation buttons within GMS that are usually found on the top right corner. Click once and move slowly through the system. Sometimes the system needs a moment to process what you just clicked. Do not double-click or continuously click on the same item. Once you're in Single Sign-On, click on the Grants Management and Expenditure Reporting section. Once in GMS, click on GMS Access Select. The GMS Access Select page contains your different programs. If you haven't submitted your budget, you may not see anything under 21st Century. Once you submit your budget and it's been approved, first-year grantees will see this page. The black arrow with 21st Century Competitive is where you may view your original grant application. The second line is your budget line and is named 21st Century Funded Projects Only. This is where you will be able to access your allocations, budget, any budget amendments, claims, and all fiscal items associated with 21st Century Grant. This is without the black arrow with 21st Century Competitive, as we'll only be discussing your budget line. You may verify and change the fiscal year at the top left. The budget line allows for you to open, to see your budget, to amend, to create a budget amendment, and payments will access the claims area. Please select Payments to access your claims. Selecting Payments directs you to the Expenditure Payment Summary page. In the middle of the page is a long button titled View Summary Expenditure Closeout Reports. Select that long button to access your claims. Clicking on the long button directs you to the Summary Expenditure Report page. This page is where all of your claims or summary expenditure reports will be located, and at the bottom of the page is your closeout report information. Please select Create New Request to open and begin your claim. Selecting Create New Request directs you to the Summary Expenditure Report page with the number of the claim you are working on. This page is where you begin to fill out your claim area. You will want to print out your Summary Expenditure Report and Detailed Expenditure Report from your local accounting software. You will use your Summary Expenditure Report to fill out this GMS page. Select the function and object codes, write the description, and fill in the amounts for the first expenditure. You will work your way through all expenditure lines. Scroll down the same page for additional functions and fields, such as the Save Page button at the very bottom, which it is important to save the page often. You may also create additional entry lines, calculate the total amounts, fill in the date ranges and the DUNS information, and attach documents. This is a small example of the expenditure lines being entered. You may notice the Calculate Totals has not been selected on this example, but the date ranges have been filled in. You will continue to save the page frequently as you work to complete this page. The middle area is where you attach supporting documents. It is recommended to have the authorized official sign and date the two reports and save them in one file to upload. You may also have supporting documentation such as invoices, receipts, and purchase orders to scan and attach. Once the page is complete, the final step is to have the authorized official review for accuracy and select Certify Submit, which will submit your claim to the 21st Century Office. Since it is your authorized official that has the authority to bind your district or organization, it must be your authorized official that reviews the claim for accuracy and submits the claim to the 21st Century Office. We strongly encourage separate access rights for individuals to input the expenditure information into the claims and for the authorized official to then verify and certify the claims for submission. Before the authorized official certifies the claim, there are a few items to double-check. Once the expenditures are entered and all other items are completed in your claim, please double-check these items. Make sure the authorized official has signed and dated both the Summary Expenditure Report and the Detailed Expenditure Report from your local accounting software prior to being uploaded, and make sure the date ranges, coding, and all of the expenditure amounts and totals match within the GMS and the two expenditure reports. Once everything has been verified by the authorized official, the claim may be submitted. When returning to the Summary Expenditure Report page, all of the claims may be accessed and their status is available in one area. You will know if it has been submitted, reviewed, or approved. Having your claim returned to you isn't a bad thing and should be viewed as ensuring accuracy for your program, district, or organization. Also, having each claim accurate should assist with any monitoring and with your closeout report at the end of the fiscal year. The 21st Century Office may try to reach you by phone or email, so please make sure we have accurate contact information. If you have questions or concerns about any part of your claims at any time, please contact the 21st Century Office. Usually there is time for changes and additions, especially if you submit timely claims. If you do have a claim returned, please read all of the notes and provide all that is needed when you resubmit your claim. Please make it a priority to resubmit your claim back to 21st Century within a few days, if not the same day. Most changes or needed items should be quick and easy for you to update or attach. We will now quickly cover coding guidelines and common coding within the 21st Century program. Please consult the OCAS manual for coding details. Function codes are 4-digit codes that describe the activity being performed, while object codes are 3-digit codes that describe the service or goods obtained. Function and object codes must align with the expenditure description and follow OCAS coding. Please consult the most current OCAS manual, which can be found on the 21st Century and OSDE's websites. All expenditures must match approved program activities and follow the scope of your grant. All personnel must be correctly listed in school personnel records. These are common 21st Century personnel. Everyone paid with 21st Century funds will need to keep time and effort. The program director position may be split between 2 co-directors, but the codes remain the same and both will need to keep time and effort. These are a few examples of how some personnel are coded, as well as stipends. Stipends are coded as salaries with corresponding benefits and are given to staff when they attend a conference, workshop, or a meeting that is held during the hours or days they are not normally working, such as after hours, weekends, or school and holiday breaks. All personnel should have salaries and benefits. Contracted services are services provided by personnel who are not on the district or organization's payroll. The contract is a required document for attaching to your claim, or you may attach a purchase order if it was used as the contract. 21st Century might require additional documentation to verify it is within the scope of your grant. Please remember, contracts and purchase orders are to be signed and dated by the authorized official. Contracted external assessors are required only for second and third year grantees and are coded as 2544-320. If you do have any 400 services, they must be 21st Century specific and the itemized invoices must be uploaded. In an effort to ease documents provided by the schools and organizations, OSDE is requiring only the registration invoice used to register for conferences, workshops, and professional development to be the main document to upload for travel expenses. The registration invoice must include the name and dates of the conference or workshop, as well as the participant names who attend. Please be aware additional documentation might be required by the 21st Century Office during the claims review process and will be reviewed during monitoring, so keep those travel documents. When it's necessary, the registration, airfare, and hotel reservation may be paid in advance. However, real-time expenses cannot be paid in advance. If every travel item is paid in the same month, you only need to attach the registration invoice. However, if the travel expenses are spread out in 2 or more months, the registration invoice must be submitted with each claim that has associated travel expenses. All district or organization travel policies, as well as IRS statutes on travel, do apply. Reimbursements to personnel for staff travel may be by per diem or by actual cost reimbursement. For per diem, submit the registration invoice. The local per diem rate cannot exceed the federal per diem rate, and you may check the federal per diem rate by visiting the GSA website. For actual cost reimbursement, submit the registration invoice. For both types of reimbursement, the registration invoice does need to contain the required information and will be the main documentation for travel expenses. Reimbursement to the school, district, or organization must state the vendor name on the detailed expenditure report. For assistance with changing the vendor name, please contact your accounting software. This breaks down the coding for the 2 main types of staff travel, out-of-state and in-state. For out-of-state staff travel, grant guidance does have a requirement that 21st Century program leaders are to attend national after-school specific trainings each year. We encourage at least 2 21st Century personnel to attend. A list of approved conferences can be found on the 21st Century website. Travel expenses are coded to 2213-580 for instructional staff who are coded in 1000s, or to 2573-580 for any other 21st Century personnel not coded to 1000s. Registration fees are coded to $2213,860 for instructional staff who are coded in 1000s, or to $2573,860 for any other 21st century personnel not coded to 1000s. For in-state day-only staff travel, this is reimbursed under payroll as per IRS requirements, including any meal expenses. Please use the specific coding for meal reimbursement. In addition, local mileage for a program director or site coordinator may have their mileage reimbursed when they are performing activities related to development and preparation of program activities. Use code 2212580. Program supplies could be hands-on or project-based instructional materials and manipulatives or technical items or software, including annual software subscriptions. State guidance does not allow 21st century funds to be used to purchase furniture, decorative items, or religious items, as well as any wiring or installation costs. When purchasing supplies, the program director must sign and date all itemized invoices and receipts, and the documentation must be attached to the claim, unless the supplies are purchased from a vendor on the approved vendor list. Please be aware additional documentation might be required by the 21st Century Office. Evaluation materials, also known as box sets, are also a requirement for each 21st century program to purchase every year and are coded as 2544-614. Determining whether an item should be coded as program supplies, which is coded as 600, or as an equipment expense, which is coded as 700, can be determined by the cost of the items. Items purchased in bulk that have unit prices over $5,000 should be budgeted to $700. These are typically items such as technology or very large STEM or activity kits. Please comply with grant guidance by seeking pre-approval from the 21st Century Office prior to purchasing any single item exceeding $1,000 or any total amount exceeding $2,500 or any shared cost items. Please state the vendor name correctly on the uploaded detailed expenditure report. For student transportation, 21st Century funds can only reimburse for bus driver salaries and benefits and fuel, not mileage. This simple fuel calculation formula will give you the actual fuel used within your 21st Century program. The fuel calculation document that you create and complete must be included in your supporting documents for every claim that has fuel expenses. Please also provide fuel invoices and receipts, even if the amount exceeds what you are claiming. It's highly recommended to claim bus fuel on a monthly basis as you submit your monthly claims, rather than claiming all of it at the end of the year. Since a fuel calculations form is a form you will create, we have two examples for you. The first example at the top of the page has an example of a fuel calculation form that has the buses down the first column with the number of program days in each row. The fuel calculation formula is beneath the chart. Below the formula is a copy of the fuel invoice, which indicates the date of purchase, the purchase of diesel, the price per gallon, and the total amount paid. The second example of a fuel calculation form has the program days down the first column with the number of miles in each row. Either example is fine since the fuel calculation formula is used and the actual cost per fuel used is determined. This example also contains areas for signatures and dates, which is a nice touch and something for you to consider when your fuel calculation form is created for your program. When purchasing equipment, the program director must sign and date all itemized invoices and receipts, and documentation must be attached to the claim. Please be aware additional documentation and information might be required by the 21st Century Office. As discussed earlier with Object Code 600, the cost determines the coding. Please comply with grant guidance by seeking pre-approval from the 21st Century Office prior to purchasing any single item exceeding $1,000, any total amount exceeding $2,500, or any shared cost items. Object Code 800 will be used for both students and staff. Student entrance fees or registrations to educational field trips or competitions are both coded to 1,800. Please note the difference in bold codes of 810 and 860. The registration invoice is used to register staff for conferences and workshops. The registration invoice must contain the name and dates of the conference or workshop and the participant names who attend. For 21st Century, the conferences and workshops must be after-school specific. Please see Object Code 500 for more information regarding the registration invoice. Staff registration fees are coded to either $2213,860 for instructional staff coded in the 1000s or to $2573,860 for any other 21st Century personnel not coded in the 1000s. School districts or organizations may choose to take indirect costs. Indirect costs may cover costs already calculated and within your budget. If your program chooses to take indirect costs, the system will automatically not allow you to go over the set amount your program may take. The system is set to automatically not allow indirect costs to exceed more than 15% of your budget. Most of the other line items and codes have more flexibility with a 25% variance. Indirect costs are coded as 5400-970. This is a list of other common codes within the 21st Century Grant. Advertisement for employee positions are coded as 2571-540, and employee background checks are coded as 2571-810. Background checks are very important for the safety of all 21st Century Community Learning Center students and staff. Any staff or volunteer not previously cleared by a background check through the school or organization must have a background check completed. Box sets are required to be purchased by every 21st Century grantee and are coded as 2544-614. Contracted external assessors are only for second and third year grantees and are coded as 2544-320. Contracted services for student transportation are either 2720-511 or 513. Bus rentals of buses not owned by the district or organization but are operated by program personnel are coded as 2720-440. Building rentals of buildings not owned by the district or organization are coded as 2620-440. Further information regarding claims and coding may be found at the 21st Century website as well as contained in the OCAS manual on the 21st Century and OSDE websites. Thank you for watching this claims webinar, and I hope this will be helpful to you when completing your 21st Century claims.